there we go. I've crossed Indiana. I'm in Ohio. Actually, I'm almost here in Ohio now at this point. So, done the big circle, or a big circle. And in the coming months, of course, taking 20, I'm going to end up over here. We'll pick up a few more states. Morning, YouTube. Well, today I'm visiting the Rutherford B. Hayes Museum and Library. The museum's over here, but on the grounds is his home. So I'm going to tour the home first, and then I'll do the museum. They don't allow photography in the home, so I'll give you some shots of the outside. It's a pretty cool looking Victorian mansion, all brick. Got the Widow's Walk there. All brick. Got the Widow's Walk up at the top. So I will. Sorry, I can't show you the inside, but that's the rule. So we'll get some photography in the museum. Okay. So what I thought was a Widow's Walk up there isn't actually, doesn't have a whole platform around or anything like that like most of them. What that feature is the central staircase goes right up through there, and in the summertime you could open up the windows downstairs, open up the ones up there, and it'll pull the air in. So basically that is an early air conditioner. And they said that they call it Spiegel Grove, and the grounds here, they said there's some trees that predate the Revolution. And of course, this area I don't believe was really settled all that much at that time. I think there people were moving into it, but so this place has got a lot of the features I always loved on the old Victorians. A little turret kind of window, got the screened in porch. So this oak tree is one of the ones that was here during the Revolution. And you got a placard up here. It says it's the Major General William S. Rosencrantz oak, 1877. So he named his tree after a general. Actually, all three of these oaks, the big one, this medium-sized one, and little one, a littleish one, and this little one over here, are all named after generals. Okay, well, I've just been through the home, and if you get up this way, it's in Fremont, Ohio. It's right off of 20, and this is worth the visit, if for nothing else, just to see this house. They've got his furniture on the first floor. They've got pictures, so they know exactly what was there. Quite a bit of it is from his years in the White House. He was the 18th president, and so they brought a lot of that furniture back with them. I mean, back then, it wasn't, the presidents basically for their living stuff bought their own furniture or had it made. But his family or family members lived here until 1965. So one interesting little tidbit, I did ask if he had a nickname, and they said his wife called him Woody. I'm not going to speculate. All right, these gates were actually from the White House, the original gates from there. When they expanded the entrance to the White House out, because of the size, because of the old gates like this wouldn't accommodate modern vehicles, so they asked if they could get them for here, and so they were able to get all 7 of them and bring them up here. I think President Hayes was the one who actually asked for them. This is the chair that Hayes sat in at the inauguration, and that's the plank he stood on. And So he wasn't a very big guy. He stood 5'8", weighed between 140 and 190 pounds. And he collected canes. That's his G.R. Kane, Grand Army of the Republic. But he had like collection of almost 100 of them. So I got a ways to go to catch up. This is a sweet ride. Back then, the government didn't provide transportation for the president, so they had to buy their own horses, maintain them, pay for feeding them and taking care of them, the drivers, all that. I mean, the horses and the carriage alone were about $2,100, which back then was a lot of money. So if you think elections were nasty is a new thing, not really. Take a look at this. I mean, hey, this is obviously for Hayes and his opponent, Tilden. Sort of echoed in modern times, but Tilden, his opponent, received 254,235 more votes than Hayes. But when it came down to the end, the Electoral College, he had one more than Tilden. And that was a big controversy back then because there was widespread suppression of the black vote in the South. And they went to start counting. The inauguration wasn't until March 5th. They started in January trying to figure out the electoral votes. And they started counting them when they got to Florida. There was multiple certificates of, so they didn't know which way they were going to, which one was the real one. So they sent that back. And ended up arguing it before the Supreme Court. Finally ended up in the very end with only 2 days to go. There was a deal made in a back room of a hotel, and nobody took notes. So some of the things Hayes said he was going to do anyway, like put a Southerner to the cabinet, but because Grant thought that the Tilden, his people would swear him in early because the inauguration day, official day, was going to be Sunday. They moved it to Monday, and so Grant had him sworn in at the White House on Saturday. So, yeah, things in American politics have not been all that clear-cut at times. Is the man himself, and he was only president one term, from 1877 to 1881. So one of the cool things here is they've got every president inaugural medal and a sample of their handwriting, and you can tell when typewriters started coming in, because all of a sudden everybody's typing things. Till you get to Jimmy Carter, and he signs it, goes right up to Barack Obama, and 45 will go there. This is the Hayes family together on the porch of the house we were just at. So check out the Hayes Children's Dollhouse. The servants' rooms up in the attic, even storage up in the attic. Pretty amazing. And then you got another one over here that looks like it'd be, done as fake brick. Not quite as elaborate, but still pretty cool and pretty big. This is Rutherford and Lucy is a young couple, quite good lookers. So during the Civil War, Hugh Hayes was in the military. Eventually became breveted to a general, but in September 14th, 1862, he was a lieutenant colonel, and at the Battle of South Mountain, he received the worst wound he got during the war. As he was shot in the left arm while he was leading a charge on a Confederate position. He actually ended up still commanded his group, or his So he still commanded his men from between the lines, and he actually was laying near a wounded Confederate soldier, and they exchanged names and names of relatives to be notified if either one of them had died. So, but he was evacuated out eventually, got brought back to his lines, treated by his wife's brother, and when he recuperated from his wounds, well, he was very fortunate because right after that, a couple days later, 4 days, his regiment was at the Battle of Antietam, which, if you look at one of my earlier videos, was one of the bloodiest days of the Civil War. Some of the things he carried with him, and General Cook presented his own Brigadier General shoulder straps to Hayes on December 9th, 1864, when he was promoted general. There's the Smith & Wesson .32 caliber pistol he carried, and of course, and his dress sword and scabbard. So, scissors and a file, Swiss Army knife, they didn't come up with that, because this is what is carried in the Civil War. This is a little stylish with the running. So, when they got married, this was Lucy's wedding gown, and the stockings she wore, the shoes she wore, and the hair comb that she had on that day. So, there's a history of Hayes family involved with the military for the U.S. His grandfather fought in the Revolution, but his son, Webb Hayes, who was the second son, he fought in a number of places. And so these are some of the weapons he collected throughout his military career. And he was involved in the Philippines. And so some of the swords and weapons taken from the people that they were fighting there. And I mean, pretty impressive double-barreled pivot gun or swivel gun. Another old swivel gun, Chinese cannon. These are some of the weapons he got during the Boxer Rebellion. So a lot of the Chinese rifles, and I mean, I'm looking at the size of this one. It's like 8 feet long. I mean, that one's almost as long. Yeah, it's the number 24 there. The Chinese copy of a German Mauser Rampart gun. So, disemboweling swords, where they would hide in the grass, and as the cavalry went by, jump up and disembowel the horse and then kill the rider. So here's some stuff from the Revolutionary War, and War of 1812. This is all weapons from the Civil War. A couple of notable things technological things that happened in the White House. During Hayes' presidency, it was the first time the staffers were able to use typewriters. They were first delivered there. Also, it was the first phone installed in the White House. Didn't get much use because there wasn't a lot of other phones around Washington for them to call. All right, so that's the end of my my visit to Rutherford Hayes Museum and Home and Library. It's well worth the trip. Just to see that beautiful house and the actual furnishings that were there. A lot of times we think this is the style that was there, but they actually have pictures, and it's a beautiful house. And the exhibits here are very interesting. It's not that far off at 20. The combination for me, for a senior, was $12 to visit the house and the museum, so it's not bad. So anyway, that's the end of today, and I'll get back on the road and we'll see what I can find. See you later, YouTube. And I like this quote. Let me leave you with that. He serves the party best who serves his country best. I think this quote from him would be nice to be remembered today. He serves his party best who serves his country best. Maybe we should all let the people in Washington know that they really need to start serving the country best.